Blisters on my feet, and I keep dancing. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing together. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing in Africa. I don't need your money, and I don't want the fame. Just a little piece of dust, some seed and some rain. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing together. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing over Africa. Oh, it's a song I sing with a beat in my feet. God gave life, living all for Him. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing together. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing over Africa. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing together. Oh, we're dancing, dancing with barefoot in Africa. Hello. Oh, that's so nice. I'll tell you about this tea. So in South Africa, we kind of grow up on rooibos. So rooibos is like I think it's a leaf or a twig that grows on, we call it fynbos. It's a bush that grows mainly in the mountains in Cape Town. And it's family of fynbos. That's like the protea and that type of thing. And it is an amazing flavor. If you've never had it, you should actually try it. So Carmen is a South African make. Let's see if I can get closer. Okay. And what I like about it is they are environmentally conscious. So Carmen brings you rooibos directly from the farm, grown socially just and in harmony with nature. Rooibos is unique to South Africa. To find out more about our farming, visit us at carmintea.co.za/growing goodness. Now, there's different flavors, but this one is one of my favorites. It's called rooibos, cherry, and orange. And I usually drink coffee. I love coffee, but I find lately my liver doesn't like it so much. Sorry, my back's cold. It's really cold today. So anyway, I try to not drink so much coffee. I drink like 1 or 2 cups a day, and the rest of the time, rooibos or water or whatever else you fancy. Oh, or chocolate. So while we're talking about drinks, you might see it, I might include the cup. My morning ritual involves overnight oats. I love that stuff. And then Numo hot chocolate. So this is also a South African company. I don't know if you can see. Let me just see. Yes, you can see. And I buy the skinny one because I like it so much. I drink too much and then I get really fat. And what I like about it, it is you don't use a lot. You use 1 neat teaspoon. And you can add milk, which I sometimes do. Or so they say you can top it up with 200 ml hot milk or cold skimmed milk. I like it with hot water and maybe a little bit of milk because a bit lactose intolerance, it gives me sinus. I don't think I'm going to stop because you know what, if you buy almond milk or one of those things here, it is just too expensive. And again, it is better farming, better future. So also very social conscious. And it's also a South African product. So what I like about it, they support sustainable cocoa farming. They are UTZ certified farmers that have been trained to implement better farming practices with respect for people and the planet. Okay, and then they also have a website if you want to go and check it out. this lady actually started this company, and what she did is when she started it, she went to this island, and she where they already are growing cacao, and she actually worked with these people, and she buys all their product. And you can find her at www.numo.co.za. Okay, finished talking about all my drinking stuff. I'm not being sponsored. It's just stuff I love. And a while ago, somebody said to me, one of my online friends said, I love seeing what you do in your life and stuff. And I've realized that by living in South Africa, we have a different lifestyle. A lot of the stuff is the same, but some things are different. And I'm going to introduce you gradually to some of the things I love about South Africa. Because at the moment, South Africa is a bit unstable. It doesn't look like it if you look in the general, but we've had some interesting things happening lately. And so it's brought me to a place where a lot of people are leaving the country, especially if you are, it's like a lot of people do not have a future here, or feel like they do not have a future. I don't know how I feel about that. For now, I am staying put, but I know what went on in Zimbabwe, and you see certain signs here at the moment, and it gets scary sometimes, but I do feel this is where I have to trust God. So I've decided to make a conscious decision to enjoy things about South Africa. And it's so interesting. A while ago, I'm still reading the book because I find it very difficult to read, but when I start something, so my policy with books is, life is too short to read books that's not nice, or to read books that doesn't interest you. So a friend of mine said I need to read this book. It's called The Power of Thinking Big. And so I looked at the book, and it's quite old. If you look at the way he speaks, I can't find when it was written. But I have a feeling it was written like in the 1960s, because the way that he speaks about his children and people in the work environment, it makes me think it's quite an old book. But anyway, one of the things he said is, look at things not as they are, but as they can be. And that has been my motto for the last few months, is that, actually since we spoke last, it's been my motto. It's like, not how do they look like, but what can they be? And there's that scripture in the Bible also that says, hope is to believe in something that you cannot see as if it is. And so this, to me, it's like correlation between the two things. It's like, how do I look at things? And so I've been really walking a road in the last few years of appreciation. Oh, I forgot to say who I am. Sorry. Okay, so my name is Katinka. I live in South Africa in a small little village somewhere next to the coast. It's windy most days. We are coming into spring now, which is exciting, and I love spring. But the thing is that, oh yes, sorry. The thing is that I love winter, so I don't mind it being cold and windy. I don't like that much, but I don't mind it being cold because I can wear my jerseys. So yes, my this bot's name is Agnita Create, and Creations. I can't remember. Agnita Creations, and I speak about knitting and sewing and sometimes spinning. My garden is a disaster as always. I don't know why I even keep going, but I am tenacious, so maybe that's why. So I'll include a clip. There's not much growing there, except the fennel. The fennel is really happy. And I'm kind of fed up with fennel smoothies, so I just let them grow. I don't know what else to do with fennel. And I have sweet peas flowering at the moment. They've been in my garden for the last 3 months, 4 months, and nothing happened. And finally, they're flowering. I'm so happy. Yeah, so anyway, let's get back to the point. I just want to quickly see something. If it's still recording. Can I see it? Yeah, it is. Eyes. Oh my gosh, I struggle with my eyes at the moment. My one friend said to me, you must remember, when you turn 40, your life will change. One of the things is you will get a big midriff if you don't look at what you're eating. The other thing is your eyes will start deteriorating. And I always struggle to see far, but close is fine, and I still am fine close. But now, the in-between place, which was okay, is now gone as well. So I can see here, but anywhere a meter further, I can't see. So I find it so frustrating. I tried contacts, it's not working for my eyes. I hate glasses because I get eczema around my face when I wear glasses. So I'm in a catch-22. I'm constantly half blind. My friends know. By now If I say, they show me something, like when I have sewing class, they would show me stuff and it's like, no, I can't see, you need to come closer or I need to come to you. So it's been this big joke of, oh, she's blind, don't worry. So anyway, it is windy and cold outside, but this cottage actually gets really nice and warm in winter, actually in summer as well. But it's okay. So I'm going to take my hat off. My beautiful hat was made for me by my friend Lynette. Little Lily, I think, is her crocheting. She crochets. Oh, she crochets amazingly. You see the stuff. She makes like little porcelain dolls this size, and then she would crochet dresses for them. It is exquisite. But yeah, she's not on. She is on Instagram, and she's not very active. And she is on Facebook, but she's also not very active. But her work is amazing. So today I think I've been looking at different things, and I used to have this thing of I need to record every week or every 2 weeks, and I really tried, but I don't just want to talk about what I bought today or what I knitted or finished knitting, because there's this lady called Michelle Carter on social media, and her what do you call that thing? Not label, her handle. I think it's called a handle. Her handle is My So-Called Handmade Life, and she also has an amazing podcast. I always watch her podcast. I don't have a lot of time to watch podcasts, but she's one of the few. When that episode comes out, I watch it, because she's so thoughtful in the things she speaks about. But anyway, she's been speaking about how her podcast for her is a place of communicating and connecting with people, and I've realized that that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. We're quite isolated in South Africa from the rest of the world. Firstly, because we did have sanctions against us until, I think, in the early 90s. So we weren't really exposed to a lot of outside influences. Now, I finished school early 90s, and then I left the country for a few years. And it was just so different to see the rest of the world. But we are still kind of isolated because we kind of in this juxtapose of our first world and third world, and sometimes you forget that there's countries out there that's completely first world, and there's other countries that's completely third world, and you constantly feel like standing with your legs in both worlds. So for me, what I decided when I started this podcast is I would like to connect to people that's thinking like me, that likes to knit, that likes to sew and do those things, and in the process make some friends and just treat this as a place of chatting. And that's one of the reasons why I moved here, because I used to do it in my sewing room, but the light wasn't good. But also it was distracting because it was just like, oh look, I've bought this or got this material, and look, I've made this. And yes, that's part of what I want to talk about, because this is my fridge. I have this gorgeous Instagram friend called Elizabeth Maxwell. She's Elizabeth Humble House. I'll put a link. Just make a note. On Instagram, and she also she's got a YouTube channel, and she makes these most beautiful. She's busy renovating this old, I think it's a Quaker's house, or I think it was Quakers. And let me just write this. Because I've decided I'm going to start putting links, or I'm going to try putting links, but I forget what links I have to put, and then I don't do it. YouTube. Just YouTube. So anyway, she makes these videos of the process of renovating her house, and then she puts music with it. But the nice thing about her and her husband's a barber, is they don't do anything unless they have the money to do it. So they've been saving, and then they do the next step and the next step. And it's been a 7-year project. But I just love the whole process. So last year's, I've got notes here, and I'm going to try and stick to it, but I'm actually just going to chat. So last year I went to America, and I think some of you remember, and I went for my friend's wedding. She's South African, and she got married to an American. But because of immigration laws and stuff, they couldn't wait to get married. They had to they've been dating for a long time, but they had to, from when she landed until when they got married, was like 3 or 6 months, if I remember. I think it was 3 months. She got there in March. Yes, it was about 3 or 4 months. So about 7 weeks before they left, they contacted me and they said, we really want you to be the maid of honor at our wedding, and the only other people from South Africa will be her parents, and we'll pay for you to come, but there's one thing, after the wedding, her husband said to me, she's mine, so you need to go and visit some friends. And we'll pay your ticket, but you need to go. And I'm like, oh, you don't love me anymore, but it was such a joke. It's like, no, you can't come with us on honeymoon, you need to go. Sorry, which I'm actually quite happy about. I don't want to go. Sorry, with other people on honeymoon. So, went down the wrong side. Sorry. So I went to, I contacted a few friends. And that's quite awkward because you know these people on Instagram and you really have a rapport with them or wherever. But and you've been messaging and DMing and emailing. But now you are kind of like, no, I'm coming to America, can I come and see you? So it was quite awkward for me. But Elizabeth and I've been speaking about getting together for a while, and then it was just like, I have a secret, because it's like, I couldn't really talk about it. I'm coming, and can I come and visit you? And she was so awesome about it. And so I went to visit her, and it was just one of those magical experiences where you know, we met at the airport for the first time in real life, and it was like meeting my sister. So I have 3 sisters. As I said before, I'm part of triplets, and I've got an older sister and a brother. So it's not like I have this need for sisters, but I collect them. So anyway, Michelle was speaking about social media and friends on social media. And it just made me think about my thankfulness. Because another thing that happened was while I was there, I went and I saw this, like a lady in New England. We came together and heard her daughters. Oh, it was just so amazing. And then when I landed at my friend, another friend of mine, from Liana's World, she drove all the way from Kansas City to come and spend 3 hours with me at the airport. I mean, it's like she drove 3 hours to spend, no, it wasn't even, to spend an hour and a half with me, and then she drove back with her husband. And I was just so blessed. And in that same time, I was supposed to go and visit my friend Bethany, Bethany Baum from Freely Born in Houston. But that's when the hurricane happened. So halfway through the hurricane came the weekend I got to my friend my friend who was getting married. And so naive as I am, because we don't really have hurricanes, I thought, it's fine, by the time I'm finished with Elizabeth and I'm going to Bethany, then everything will be cleared. But, you know, I'm naive. So I didn't realize the impact of a hurricane on situations. And so I couldn't go to Bethany because, I mean, literally where she was living was surrounded by water. And it was just interesting to go through the whole process with her of okay, so now I've run out of food and my phone can't be charged, and all of those things that I never thought about. Because yes, we sometimes have floods and stuff, but after a flood the water goes. Yes, some people are homeless, but it's not like the water stay. It really opened my eyes to a different perspective. Being in America while this hurricane season was hitting everybody. And so while visiting Elizabeth, she said, no, you must just stay here now because you can't go on. You can't fly to Houston. The airports are closed. And what happened was, I learned that there's a place of friendship. That's not just about my friends close, because I've got some amazing friends close to me as well. But it's about that opening up your heart. I don't say everybody should go and splurt their heart on social media, but a lot of the heart conversations was through DMs and through emails, and it's just been such an amazing, like from 2014 when I went on Instagram, this whole process of learning of getting to know people and of having glimpses into their lives and into their houses, and it's just been so amazing. So anyway, Michelle was speaking about how her grandma passed away and how the people around her and the people closest to her didn't really understand what the impact was, but how the people on Instagram realized it. And I was thinking, and the thing that came up to me was that I don't always speak to the people around me about how I feel or what I'm going through. But on Instagram, I might put a post like, I lost my best friend in January to cancer, and it was literally on the 5th of January, we finally found a diagnosis, and she died by the 29th. And I would put a post up with a photo of, not of her, but of a flower or something, and say, I miss my friend. And the comments and the support that would come back. But I won't go around and say to everybody I see, oh, I miss my friend. Because for me, my Instagram account is more a place of just sharing how I feel. It's almost like a diary. And then another thing that happened in the time while I was in America is I lost my Instagram account. Instagram went through some hacking and whatever, and they just cancelled my account, and they said I was violating Instagram rules, which when I went and I read the rules again, I was not violating it. But anyway, I never were able to retrieve my account. So I lost from 2014 to 2000 and, what's this now, 2018, 2017, all my Instagram posts and all my photos. And a lot of my things was not really, I didn't save it because my computer got hit by lightning in the same time. But what happened out of that is I learned that at that stage I was looking for friends, but I was looking for followers. And my biggest ambition was to get to 2,000 followers. And then I lost my account. And in that process, it was like God was saying to me, wait a minute, are you looking for followers or are you following Jesus? And it really shook me. And that's been my look at life since then is, what is my motivation in everything, because sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes the motivation is completely off. And so I've learned in the last year to look at my motivation and to work it from there. So yes, that's what I want to chat to you in general today. But now I want to show you, I'm going to make this now about knitting, because you know what, it is about knitting as well. So, the first thing I want to show you is look at these lovely bags that my friend gave us from the wedding. Oh yeah, so my friend who got married last year, she came to South Africa, and they had like a renewal of their vows exactly a year after they got married in America. And it was so special. So I had to do the bridesmaids dresses, that was 4 of them, and 2 flower girl dresses. And then she ordered the waistcoats for the men online, but they were all either too big or too small. And then she ordered the extra one. So what I had to do was actually make all of these fit, make them bigger or smaller. And then I had to make out of the extra one a page waistcoat. And I went last week, Thursday, and the wedding was the week before Thursday, and the wedding was last week, Saturday. And it was just so beautiful, but I worked so hard. By the end of it, I was so tired. But I was so chuffed. She gave each of us this little bag. Isn't it pretty? Look at that, my name is there. And then on the inside, she said, thank you for being my bridesmaid. But now, back to the friendship thing. I think it was last year sometime. Suddenly, I don't often go to Ravelry because I always forget my Ravelry name. And then it takes me some time to get in. But also, my life is actually really busy. So I don't spend a lot of time, except on Instagram, but on the rest of the stuff, I do go there when I can. And just think, where is this one? Oh, I went on Ravelry, and there's this pattern I liked. But with South African rand, our rand has really fallen because of all the nonsense that's going on here. So things are really expensive. If you compare it like, I don't really know how to compare it, but things are really expensive. So if something's in dollars, it doesn't sound like a lot of dollars, but if you convert it to rands, then it gets really pricey. And so I would look at things and I would think, yeah, this is pretty, and yes, I need to do this and this and this before I can actually go and buy whatever I'm looking at. And this lady went, Gail from Toronto, Gail.Toronto is her Instagram account, and she just went and she bought me this pattern. So I opened my Ravelry, and there this pattern was in my library, and I couldn't believe it because I didn't really know her. I saw she started following me on Instagram, but it was just like back to that thing of social media and the friendships we form, and then she said in the email, she said, I am from that area where you are from, but I've been living in Canada for a long time. And I just wanted to say thank you for your podcast. And it really just blessed me so much because I don't have a big podcast. And again, for me, it's not about the followers. The people that follow is the people that I consider as friends. It's like, I'm sorry. If you follow me, you're my friend. That's the way it is. For now, I don't know if it goes bigger. It might be different, but this is where I'm at now. And I was just so blessed. And she got me the Waiting for Rain shawl. By, I always forget her name. Waiting for Rain by, well, they don't say. See? She's such a famous person in my eyes. The one who buys it. Oh, sorry, I can't remember what her name is. But she's got a stunning Instagram account as well. But anyway, the Waiting for Rain shawl. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there's a nice photo. So, I hope you can see it. And I've really been looking at it because, you know, again, living in South Africa, we have some really serious droughts. We went through a really bad drought last year, actually till about a few months ago, where it was so dry that the farmers actually had to go and get new boreholes because the normal boreholes that's been never dried up actually went dry. And so for me, rain is really a thing about blessing. If it's raining, I think God's looking down from heaven and he's saying, there's your blessing today, Katinka. And so I've always looked at rain as a blessing. And then that's why this shawl was just so inspiring to me. It's that whole thing of rain being a blessing and being a thing of growth and of life. And so I looked at this shawl and I really loved it. And then when she got it to me, it was just amazing. It was like the blessing was just double. So I knitted it and I had like on a 4th lace repeat. And then I realized I increased it wrong, so it was running like that. Instead of flat and then a crescent shape. So I had to pick it. But then I also realized that I didn't spin enough wool because I spun the wool for it. And I dyed it with avocado dye, I hope you can see. And then I put some iron in to make it more grey, which I really loved. But then I couldn't remember how I did it. But I ran out of wool. I realized I was going to run out of wool. So that's, I think this is 800 meters. But I think because I spun, some is a bit thick and some of it's a bit thin, it's not really enough. So I spun another 700 meters. It doesn't look like it because it's very thin. So I spun another 700 meters. And what I did with this one, because I saw there were some of the patterns that has, like the lace would be another color. So I put the wool before I spun it in a big 5-liter container, and I put all the avocado pips in there that's already been cooked, and I just I left it in the sun. So unspun wool, it was about, I think it's about 300 grams, 200 grams. Oh no, it wasn't. It's 100 grams. Oh, I can't remember. I think it's 150 grams. I did weigh it, but it was like not a lot. So I put the wool in the sun in this container, and it put the lid on, and I just left it. It's been lying in the sun. It was lying in the sun for about a month. And everybody who came here was like, what's that bottle with that horrible looking stuff? Because, you know, wool in water doesn't look so nice. And I was just doing this experiment. Now maybe it wasn't, yeah, it was about a month. And so I did the first amount, which was about 100 grams, and then I did another amount because I realized I didn't have enough yet. And I didn't wash. Oh yes, I then let it dry in the sun, and then I brushed it out and I spun it. And so it was on one bobbin, and then I realized I still don't have enough, so I dyed another lot, and it also took about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And then I washed it out and I spun that up as well and applied it to. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the base of the shawl, and then this will be the lace insets. And because they're both avocado, they're going to they speak to each other, and they're just going to be that little pop of color, not a lot. And these are the colors that I do use a lot in summer. So I would really like to use this in summer more. I can wear it in winter as a shawl around my neck maybe. But in summer, I often find my shoulders are cold. So I've really been enjoying this whole process, because I went to look for wool. But like I said before, we've got this one place I found. I actually knew about them, but I forgot about them. It's Karoo Moon. And they've got some beautiful wool. Oh, it was my birthday in July. And all my friends clubbed together, and they bought me knit pro knitting needles, which is so expensive. I mean, it's like one third of my salary to buy this. And they're all clubbed together, and they bought me these needles. I must actually show you. I'm gonna brag now. Sorry. But oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So they got me the set of interchangeable needles, and I just love it. I love it. It is one of the most amazing gifts ever, because these needles are really what everybody's raving about. I always think people are just talking about it. It's just like it's the newest thing. But it really makes knitting so much easier. So look at that. As you can see, I'm using some sets, but it is just amazing. So I've been so blessed. But look at this box. Isn't it pretty? I'm knitting it on my Knit Pros. It's 4mm, and this is, I think, I get confused with your weight of wool, because we have 1 ply, 2 ply, 3 ply, 4 ply, and that's basically it. But I think this is, you have lace weight, and then you've got the next one, I think it's sport weight. So I think this is sport weight, but it does knit up to gauge, so I'm just keeping going. So that's living in this little bag with the wool, and that's about my waiting for rain shawl that I'm knitting on. And the next thing I want to show you is I volunteered for a test knit. Now, I love doing test knits because it gives me exposure to patterns. Like I said, patterns are expensive if I transfer our money, when I use our money system. And so I don't always have access to all of these beautiful patterns. So what I do is I check when there's pattern release, because there's a few designers that I follow, and when they have pattern releases, if it's or when they have looking for test knitters, if it's something that I want in my wardrobe, then I volunteer to knit it. And also, like I said in my previous things, is I've only learned really to read patterns in the last year and a half, and I've got a lot of things that I've knitted through the years that come out of my head. I've always knitted out of my head. So one day I would like to write down the patterns I've knitted and make them available, but I can't really write them until I know how to read a pattern. So that's what I've been working on. So this shawl, I haven't had a chance to take photos yet. It's called the Dolom. Let me just make sure, because sometimes I butcher the names. Dolomiti wrap. It's not a shawl, it's a wrap. And I don't know if you can see, but look at that. I did block it, but I didn't let it dry completely because I wanted to wear it. So I just blocked it into a certain point, and then I put it on the washing line to dry. But don't you think it's just beautiful? It's nice, and it's long, and yeah, it smells nice. And I like that it's long because I can wear it like this. It gives you like lots of, not that it's ever this cold here, but we've had some really cold days, which I love, like in the 40s, which is not so cold for the rest of you, but for us that's cold. And even in the 50s it's still cold. I wear this all the time. What I love about this, because I don't have hair, sometimes my head gets cold, but it's wide enough and thick enough to just do this. Let me show you. So what I do is I put it on my head like this, and then I just put it around like that, and then I keep warm. So I've been wearing it a lot like this, because sometimes I forget to put something on my head, which is actually quite stupid. So this is the Dolomiti wrap, and it was done by Mina S. Her Instagram account is Finn and Frost. She also has a podcast. She's from Sweden, Finland, no, I think from Finland. She's Finnish, if I remember right. But let's go to her pattern. So that's the Dolomite wrap, and it is really well written. It's one size, and she gives you all the links to all the other things that you need. Let's see what's her surname. Mina, so Mina Sorvala at gmail.com. And she is on Instagram, but she's also on Ravelry and her stuff. She's got some lovely designs, and I love her socks. She's done some lovely socks and hats and stuff like that. So yes, that I finished. I'm very chuffed about that, and I've worn it a lot, actually. Oh, and then I forgot about this one. I think the last time you saw it, it was still being knit, if I remember right. So this is called the Bargain Jacket by Drops Design. Now I decided I didn't want a jacket, I wanted a jersey. And what I used was Risha wool, big mistake. I'm going to show you. I wore it 3 times and it started doing this. Can you see how it's bubbling? And it just looks old. I mean, it's not been worn a lot, but look at that. And when I washed it, the color bled. So, yeah, I thought it was a good wool because it was imported. I made a mistake. I used 12 skeins, maybe 11 and a half. And I love this design. I might make it again. So I gave it a little, I gave it a little cut in. That's really nice. My hands up. I keep on falling down. Really nice to move in. And then I just knitted it plain. And the pattern was knitted for a fingering weight, I think. And I knitted it in a DK. So I had to like adjust the sizing. I started knitting it and then it was too big, and then I had to go down to the smaller size, and that actually worked out very well. So now I'm just using it for an at-home jersey because it's actually really looking tacky, but it's fine. I'll wear it for at home, and I might go and find some cotton. It's a good, better quality. I just don't know what to look for because you think it's a good quality and then you find out it's not. But anyway. So that's also another finished object, which I'm very chuffed about. I've been wearing it a lot. And then I've got a few things that I'm working on. So the first thing, 2 years ago, I've got this sweet friend. And she also likes to knit, but she only knits in winter. And she doesn't knit intricate things. So she made me some ribbons. You know those where you knit like a straight piece, and then you just sew them together, and then this thumb comes through, and it's got a ribbing at the top and a ribbing at the bottom, but they were too big and I don't like it. I want my thumb being covered. So this year I decided I still want to use the wool because I love the wool. It fits, it works with everything, but I need real mittens. I need my thumb in a thumb thing. So I took the mittens, I undid them and I re-knitted them, and I just a pattern in my head, and I really liked them. They're plain, but then because it was just a square, I didn't have enough yarn for it, so I used some leftover from there and I just put a stripe in, and I quite like them. And I've been doing this in my lunch and my tea time every day, so I'm not that far. I'm starting with this one. Oh, there we go. So I might finish them before it gets warmer. I might not, then I'll wear them next year. So this is one of the projects. It's in a little bag that I made. I found these fat quarters in America, which I really, oh my gosh, you guys, you have the most amazing stuff there. It's so awesome. Because, with us, you kind of find them, but they're very expensive again. But you can buy per meter, but I don't always want a meter. I want something to play with. And I found these amazing fat quarters with these most amazing prints on for like $1 for 5, which is a really good price. And it's cotton. It's cotton. Holy moly. And then I just lined it with some my hat. So I made a little bag, a drawstring bag. It works like that. And you just put it close, and I didn't have enough, so I just added some. So that's there. And then I have a friend from Canada called Sharon, and her Instagram, is it for me? Oh no, it's my neighbor's. Her Instagram handle is Sharon Shabby Shack. I'll put a link. But I don't think she knits, but she does. She used to have a shop and did like decor stuff, and now her house is just beautiful. But we became friends on Instagram, and she's just been so generous and kind to me, and always with her comments and everything. And when I went to America, she actually sent me a parcel to my friend Elizabeth, and it was just so amazing to this woman that I don't really know, but we've become friends, with like heart friends. And she sent me this. And so a while ago, before our post office started striking so regularly, where all our parcels get missing, she sent me a parcel, and it got to me. I was so chuffed. And inside was this bag, which is made by April Cornell. And it's made out of old, like 1970s material. So apparently what Sharon told me was, oh my gosh. I live on, it's a small holding. So it's about 1 hectare. And then opposite me is my neighbor. That's also a hectare. But the neighbors are now somewhere else, so they're renting their house out to contractors because there's a lot of like buildings and stuff going on in this area. And the contractor that's living there doesn't have a car. So he gets it. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. I haven't met them, but they get a lift, and then the lift always come here, and he just hoots, and he hoots. I mean, sometimes he would do it like at 6 in the morning on a weekend. I'm like, no, guys, please, you can't do that. Not that I sleep that late, but then Murphy's Law, as the day you decide to sleep late, that's when they're going to hoot. But anyway, let me talk about Sharon and this amazing bag. So it's made out of this 1970s, almost like a rayon, yeah, I would say it's a rayon material. And this lady goes and she buys apparently from op shops and stuff, and then she just turns it into project bags. And I love this bag because I can put it over my shoulder like this. And then what was in the parcel was like a Canadian hat and some socks, and I just loved it. But they were wool. Real wool. Now, before I told you guys, we don't always get real wool. Now, I know some people pull their noses up to Patons. Classic wool, worsted weight. Okay, look at that. But for me, it is like gold. Look at this. Isn't it just the most beautiful yarn ever? So, it's Patons. She sent me 4 balls. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have enough for a jersey because I really wanted to knit a jersey. So, you just see, you're supposed to use US 7s to knit with it. And it is 100% new wool. And it's 100 grams. How many meters? Ooh, 192 meters. Or 210 yards, which is really good. So, I have these 4 balls. No, it's not here. Now Sinatra is upset because the people are hurting. This toys. So what I did was I wanted to. Oh, again, Michelle was doing. Get the name. Let me just sort the dog out. Sorry. Hey, stop, stop. So after doing my whole little video this morning, still drinking hot chocolate. I'm now drinking hot chocolate. I sat down to edit it, and when Sinatra got up, or when Sinatra was making such a racket, and I got up to calm him down and to bring him inside, the video stopped recording. And then it started again, but then the sound was so bad you couldn't hear a thing. You could hear a little bit, but not enough. So I'm back to do the last bit of the video for today, or the podcast for today. So I was speaking about this beautiful jersey. I call it a jersey. I know you've got other names for it all over the world. But for me, it's a jersey. Look at this. Isn't it just exquisite? So, I'm going to put it like this so you can swoon. It is so nice and warm because it's real wool. I love it. And it looks funny. Put it down. Anyway, I was talking to you about the Junko July cull hosted by Michelle from My So-Called Handmade Life. I did write it down. Just find it quickly. September. It was September. Yes, I found it. So, the pattern is by Junko Okamoto. And I love her stuff. It is really beautiful. And I can't remember now, I just listened to the last part, but I can't remember now if I spoke about it. But so Michelle was speaking about it on her Instagram account, and I went and I looked at it, and I realized that there was this one that was a free pattern. And I just fell in love with it. And then I remember this wool that my friend Sharon from Shabby Shack sent me. And I thought, it might be enough because there's almost 800 grams. But I mean, I'm a big girl, so 800 grams is not going to really make a nice, big, fluffy jersey. But I did have some hand spun. It's a bit knobbly, but I love the texture. So I thought I would do the accent in the hand spun. And then what I did is I just reversed the main color on this part. So I didn't use so much purple. And now I'm finishing it up with the purple. I still have this much left over, which is quite a lot, as you can see. I'm going to finish knitting it, and then I've got 2 more bowls, and I still need to do that part for the sleeve. Then I'm going to finish the sleeves because I don't think it's going to use a whole bowl, and whatever is left I'm going to use on the body to make it as long as possible, because I'm a 90s child, born 1973, 1973, so I was a teenager in the 90s, and we used to wear long jerseys, so it would be like to your knee almost. You would just wear tights with it. So I don't want this one that long. I want it over my butt, but because it keeps my butt warm. I've realized this winter has been quite cold, and I've realized this winter I don't like it when my butt's cold. So I want this longer. So cropped cardigans is pretty with dresses, but I don't wear dresses when it's so cold because, as I said, certain parts of my anatomy gets really cold. So I want to knit this as long as possible. And then the other thing was, let me just see. I think that's it. I did all my notes, so I'm happy about that. And like I said, I'm going to try and finish this one because I really want to wear it before it gets warm, which I don't know how long we still have. Today is nice and windy and cold and cloudy. I can see there's a bit of blue, but mostly it's cloudy. So we might have a few more weeks of coldness. A few years ago I went to visit my sister in England, and we have summer when they have winter. And it was so interesting. I took the temperatures, like a daily temperature reading, from August until when I left November. And our average temperatures, coldest and warmest, was only like 3 degrees, 4 degrees warmer than it was that year in England. And so sometimes here where I am, our winter goes quite late, and then it starts with a bang by December, and then it's just so hot. So I'm hoping we are going to have one like that, so I can still wear this before it gets too hot. But we'll see. It might not be that cold, but I kind of hope so. So that's me for today. Thank you for visiting with me, and I don't know when I'm going to speak to you again, but I do make notes in my trusted little diary as I go along if I want to talk about something, and then I just keep it for this platform. Have a wonderful Sunday. I forgot to say, it's Sunday the 9th. Is it? Let me see. It's Sunday the 8th, and of September 2018. And I hope your Sunday is awesome. Thank you for visiting with me. I hope you had something nice and warm to drink. And if it's cold,